Hello, everyone. Welcome to the What You Streamin' podcast. I'm Allie, one of your hosts, and this is the mini-sode. All right, on this week's mini-sode, I'm going to give you an update as to what film we will be covering in next week's episode. And we also have a Nevermore Film Festival update. Last week's episode was a re-release of the Nevermore Film Festival, and that festival is kind of what kicked off a lot of the conversations that Katie and I had around films, and kind of was the encouragement we needed to start the What You Streamin' podcast. And so we wanted to reach out to the Nevermore Film Festival committee to see if they had any updates and anything that they wanted to share with our listeners, since it was, again, the festival was such a big influence on the films that we chose to look at for season 1 of the What You Streamin' podcast. And they were kind enough to send in a little bit of information and some of their updates. So without further ado, here is Stacy Bell, who is the selection committee chair of the Nevermore Film Festival, with updates on participants from past festivals, as well as the upcoming 2022 Nevermore Film Festival.
Hi, thanks for inviting us to talk a bit about the Nevermore Film Festival. On behalf of Jim, Ronnie, Chuck, and the rest of the committee, we really appreciate you having us on the podcast. My name is Stacy Bell, and I'm the selection committee chair for the festival. I wanted to give you just a little bit of background information about the festival. So Nevermore is coming up on our 23rd year for the fest, which is an impressively long run, and we really owe that to the dedicated audience who show up for us year after year. I say that we're coming up on our 23rd year because we're kind of in between seasons right now. The fest is typically held in late February or occasionally early March, so our 2021 festival, which you've covered on your podcast, has already taken place. We tend to have a bit of a hiatus from March until the fall. It sometimes takes almost that long to recover from planning a festival. And our submissions for the next fest usually open up by late September or early October. So it actually won't be too long before the floodgates open, so we say, for another season of Nevermore, with the genre features and shorts coming in from around the world to be screened by our jury committee. The timing of our fest actually meant that we got lucky in a sense, with the 3-day event taking place in person in late February 2020. That's just a couple weeks before most areas, at least locally around us, began closing up shop due to COVID-19. Personally, it was my last social event before going into an extended quarantine. And the 2021 festival, however, took place just a couple months after the Carolina Theater of Durham, which is where the festival takes place. It closed its doors temporarily around that time. And we were just a few days away from making our final program decisions when the news came. And we were a little bit nervous because we were so close, and we had a lot of filmmakers waiting for final decisions, and our committee had put a lot of hours into screening all the submissions that came in. But again, we got lucky in a way, because Jim Carl, the head programmer and festival director, he made a plea to the Carolina Theater to allow the fest to go on, albeit in an entirely virtual manner with the venue being closed. We got the support that we needed, though, and Jim volunteered his own time, along with the rest of the committee, to ensure that we held Nevermore 2021. And virtual film festivals became the norm last year for a lot of people, but it was all new to us when we were pulling it together behind the scenes, but we were still able to pull it off. And surprisingly, the Nevermore 2021 festival became our highest grossing and most highly attended festival to date, with more than 3,600 viewers able to attend from several states across the region. And a pretty good percentage of our total amount of viewers were from like outside our immediate area. So we really did get to broaden our audience across a wider region, which was great. We actually love watching our Nevermore alumni go on to have further success with their films and take on new projects as the year goes on. And some of our filmmakers from Nevermore 2021 have already had some successes in development since they screened with us back in earlier this year. So I did want to provide a few updates in terms of what those folks have been up to lately. First of all, the director and the producing team behind the feature To Freddy has a new thriller in the works called Me, You, and Frank that's set to start production in August. And they also have a feature called Theodore that will be starting its festival run later this year. The feature Catherine's Lullaby has a distributor with Vertical Entertainment and a new name, actually. It is now titled Captive. So if you're looking for Catherine's Lullaby from our festival earlier this year, you should actually be looking for a film called Captive and file that away for future reference. The folks over behind Abysmal Spider will be shooting another film titled Butterfly Mansion later this year. And A Ghost Waits, which was the Jury Award Best Picture this year, it's available on Blu-ray through Arrow Films. The short film The Relic actually won both the audience and the jury Best Short Awards last year, or this year in 2021. And since then, it's really enjoyed a very solid festival run since Nevermore took place. They've been grabbing up award nominations and wins at domestic and international festivals. So kudos to them for having a great run this year. And also wanted to mention that the Feature Audience Award winner, The Stairs, it has some news. They have some news that should be breaking next week. So be on the lookout for that as well. I think they'll have a press release with some interesting new developments to share as well. Another cool thing that we wanted to highlight while we had the opportunity is that Edward Hong from the short Make-A-Wish has assembled a publicly available online list of Black and Indigenous people of color voice actors. And this is a great resource for filmmakers looking to cast voice actors. So we wanted to, take the chance to boost the signal here so that listeners can go seek out that list and bookmark it and share it with others, especially those in the filmmaking community. So while we don't really have any interim programming planned, we are very excited for the Carolina Theater to reopen in the near future, and we're already in the beginning stages of planning for Nevermore 2022. For next year, we're planning to offer the best of both worlds, which I'm really excited about. It's going to be a hybrid approach, and it just underscores our mission to help indie horror and genre films gain more exposure and reach as large of an audience as possible. So we do expect to see a return of our beloved 3-day in-person festival experience, which many of our fans and filmmakers alike, including myself, have greatly missed. But we also plan to offer a simultaneous virtual festival, which will continue to allow more people to see the great genre content that we'll be offering this year. And then we're still in the early planning stages right now. I don't have a lot of details for you, but I can say that you can mark your calendar for February 25th through 27th, 2022 for the festival event. That will be the in-person event that's held at the Carolina Theater of Durham. The virtual fest, much like it happened this year, will run longer from February 25th, so the same start date for the virtual as for the in-person fest, but it'll run through March 3rd virtually. So you can mix and match. You can buy tickets to go in person for some things and virtual for others, or you can do one of all and all of the other, however you want to do it. It's lots of options, and so we're really excited to see how that works out as a festival platform for our audience. We do hope to see many of our old and new fans in person again, but, we are really excited to be able to offer the festival to that larger regional audience as well. So that's about it in terms of updates for Nevermore and what people have been doing since earlier this year and what we're planning for next year. So I really appreciate you giving us a chance to chat about the festival and what we're planning. I would encourage you guys to find us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. We'll definitely have more details to share in the coming months as we figure out our plans for this year. And we also often do provide updates on our filmmakers and what they're doing and how their films are faring and what they're up to. So we hope that you'll find us there and follow along for more information. Thanks again for having us.
Awesome. So, yes, I cannot thank the Nevermore Film Festival enough for everything that they do, and it's such an amazing event and such a great way for filmmakers to get their films seen and get them out there, and I cannot wait for the 2022 festival. If you are looking for a film festival to attend, there is one coming up in August. It is the Out South Film Festival, and it's taking place August 13th through the 19th, and it is a virtual festival, so you don't have to be located in the Raleigh-Durham area in North Carolina. You can participate virtually, and that was something that Stacy mentioned, was that during the latest Nevermore Film Festival, a lot of their virtual participants were not from this area, so wherever you're listening from, you can attend these as they are virtual. So as I was saying, the Out South Film Festival, it is the second largest LGBTQ plus film festival in the Southeast, which is absolutely amazing. And it features a diverse array of shorts, documentaries, and feature films. It sounds like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic event. I'm super pumped for it. Katie and I will be attending and watching the films, and I am sure there will be an episode about it coming up later in the season. And yeah, I cannot express how excited I am to see what films are going to be featured in the Out South Film Festival. So again, that's taking place August 13th through 19th, 2021. I believe they will be putting tickets up soon, so you can follow them on all the social media, Out South Film Festival, Instagram, Twitter, as well as Facebook. To get into next week's film, we are covering something from the Nevermore Film Festival, and it is the Australian comedy horror sci-fi film called An Ideal Host. And the film follows Liz, who is a perfectionist, and she just wants to kind of host this perfect dinner party that she's arranged with her soon-to-be fiancé. They've planned it all out, but as with all dinner parties, there's an unexpected guest, and it sends the evening into chaos with potentially apocalyptic results. This was one of our favorite films from the Nevermore Film Festival. I think we may have given it 5 stars. It was just absolutely amazing. I don't believe that it's available to stream anywhere yet, but on our social media, so that's at Fun with Friends Podcast on Instagram, at Fun Friends Pod 1 on Twitter, and of course Fun with Friends Podcast on Facebook, we will be sharing some of the trailers that are related to the film and maybe a couple of photos from the film as well. So be sure to hop on the socials and you can take a look at the trailer and kind of get a feel for what we're talking about in next week's episode. And a really cool thing about next week's episode is that the director, Robert Woods, will be joining us. Robert was kind enough to agree to do a little interview with us. So he'll be joining us to talk about the film, what it was like as a first-time filmmaker. They shot the film in 2 weeks, so we kind of talk about what that process was like. And then we also chat a little bit about what he's streaming. And he's a huge movie buff, as you would expect from a movie director. And so he has tons of amazing recommendations when it comes to films that he's currently streaming and things that he's streamed in the past. So it's a really fun episode. We had an absolute blast speaking with Robert Woods, and it was just, again, an absolutely amazing time recording with him. So I can't wait for you all to hear that episode. I would encourage everyone to follow Unideal Host on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Fun with Friends podcast to see some of the trailers and teasers for Unideal Host, and of course to keep up with all the other fun kind of behind the scenes things that we'll be sharing related to the movies that we're watching. And that's it. We're trying to keep these mini-sodes short and sweet, so be sure to join us next week as we speak to the director of Unideal Host, Robert Woods. And follow us on all the socials, all that jazz. Like, share, subscribe, leave a review. All of that helps the podcast tremendously. And with that, get to streaming. We'll see you next week. Bye.